How you doing, everyone? I think we'll kick this off now. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Hi, guys. Manu, how are you? Thanks for joining.
Sure. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. So it looks like the whole BootNode team is here. I'll just go through a quick introduction and then we can jump into this. So this is the second event for Living on Chain, and Living on Chain is a monthly get together on Discord here where we talk about how to live on chain, on Gnosis Chain, with the builders, operators, and users, making it all happen on Gnosis Chain. So we'll dive into topics like privacy, credible neutrality, and the decentralized web by running demos with the best tooling currently available on Gnosis Chain and tooling that's soon to come on Gnosis Chain. So for today, we have the excellent BootNode team. BootNode is they're Web3 builders that accelerate the development and adoption of decentralized infrastructure, protocols, and applications. Their mission is to build the next generation of financial infrastructure, culture, and human organization alongside the project's founders. So with that, I'll just say a quick hello to Manu and the BootNode team. And if you guys want to just introduce yourselves really quickly, I have a few questions for you, and then we can jump into a demo of the Bridge Explorer.
Sure, thanks. So thank you again for having us here. I am Manuel. I am the co-founder and CEO of BootNode. I have been in the industry for over 7 years now. I was one of the lucky guys who was part of the birth of what is now Gnosis Chain. Back then, when I participated in launching the second validator for XDAI chain, and back then I was running another company as the CTO, and we built a lot of things, tons of things, including, but not limited to, some of the tools that we will discuss now, some tools that are now considered legacy, such as the AML, and many other things. Along the way, we have contributed to the Gnosis ecosystem by being the core contributors to the SAFE. We built part of the DutchX front ends, the Omen prediction market. So we have been close to the Gnosis family for several years now. And yeah, we love the ecosystem and plan to keep adding value to it.
Yeah, super cool. I mean, I think you're one of the most long-standing contributors to Gnosis and certainly Gnosis Chain. How did you first hear about XDAI, and how did you decide that you wanted to start validating on XDAI?
Yes, back then I was the CTO of Protofire, a dev shop that I kind of created within a bigger company to build Web3, especially Ethereum ecosystem. And one of our first customers was POA Networks, and POA Network was building the POA network as promised. They had a roadmap, a white paper. They launched an ICO, and then it didn't stop there. POA Network was like a network where the validators were run by US notaries. Didn't scale that much, and the tech lead, Igor Barinov, had this great idea of spinning up like a spoon fork where you don't have any balance in the beginning. The issuance is limited. The native token is a stable coin instead of a volatile asset. And the narrative was great. And as they were also still customers of Protofire, we helped them with many things, from DevOps, automation, to there was this ICO wizard, I think. Many things. So yeah.
Yeah, and fast forward to today. I mean, from that moment of the POA network and XI launching to today, I think you'd agree that
Yes.
the chain has
Yes.
come a
Fast
long way.
forwarding. Yes. Fast forwarding. I have to mention that part of the team that I was working participating in the creation of the XDAI native bridge, where you just can bridge a DAI for XDAI. And then we made some experiments that I can say that probably we were the first to tokenize Bitcoin on Ethereum, because we were doing also an experiment, a proof of concept connecting the rootstock network that has the tokenized Bitcoin. And it is an EVM compatible network with Ethereum. So we it's fun, but we kind of made a prototype to tokenize Bitcoin. Then this continued to the arbitrary message bridging that allowed to bridge, among other things, general any ERC20 token from Ethereum to XDAI, and then BNB chains and other chains as well.
Yeah, so it makes a lot of sense that in July of 2022, the BootNode team authored a Gnosis improvement proposal, a GIP, and that was GIP 61, showed Gnosis DAO fund BootNode as a core contributor team. And that past quorum was funded, and that GIP has since basically closed. You've reached all the milestones of that GIP. So let's talk about it really quickly.
Yes, sure.
So
yes, when we started that, yes, sorry, John.
No, go ahead.
Yes, when we made that proposal, we had a few things going on around Gnosis. We were finalizing something very cool about group currencies with circles. And we were working with some other things around the bridge. So we said, okay, let's put together several goals within one bag, and let us introduce ourselves as a core contributor team, as many other protocols, decentralized protocol have. We got this idea from the graph, and we proposed an initial goals that were to improve the bridge operations, to continue with the circles development, to provide more decentralization and security to the Gnosis chain, running some infrastructure, and also doing some other things that the DAO might need. After a few weeks after starting, we realized that the very, very, very high priority was the bridge operations, because there was this time when it was a handover between the former XDAI team and the new team. Many things needed to be taken care of, a lot of documentation, troubleshooting. So we spent considerable time improving the bridge operations, doing a lot of troubleshooting, finding all the root causes, identifying them, how to fix them, and all of that ended up, I would say, drawing the goals for the rest of the period, the GIP, where we focused on building this Bridge Explorer that, later Iñaki will tell us about the benefits and the outcomes. And we didn't finish there. We continue contributing to other protocols that they have a direct impact on Gnosis Chain and also the Gnosis DAO, as they are token holders. And and this project specifically is Agave. Gnosis Chains requires a market maker money market protocol, and yeah, we try to make Agape the best one.
Yeah, I love just how much territory BootNode has covered, and you know, I think that your presence and your contributions have just made the chain what it is today. So let's jump into the Bridge Explorer because I think it makes a lot of sense as a segue here. On April 13th, we announced the Bridge Explorer for Gnosis Chain, brand new Bridge Explorer built by BootNode. So let's jump into a demo if that's okay. And I'm generally interested in what distinguishes this Bridge Explorer from others, and why is it an important distinction?
Well, hi guys, can you hear me?
That's great. Yeah.
We can
My
jump
name is
into
Manuel.
questions after you do the demo. Does that make sense for you? And then we can also do an AMA at the end.
We just prepared a few
Yes.
slides for you to better gauge the engagement of the BootNode on this project, and it won't take us long, that 15 minutes perhaps. I don't know if it's okay with you.
Yeah, no, that's great. Let's do it.
Can you guys see my screen? I am sharing at this moment. Well, firstly, my name is Iñaki. I perform QA duties, and also I'm in charge most of the times with demoing our products to our partners, to our customers, and even to my colleagues at BootNode. So these are the presentation skills that they love me for. Well, this is the Gnosis Bridge Explorer showcase. Prior to developing this Bridge Explorer, as Manu previously said, we as a team were briefly involved in the operation of the bridges for a few months. Mostly was, I believe it was 3 weeks before the Chiado merge, and for about 2 weeks posterior to the merge on mainnet that happened. On that time, BootNode team was in charge of bridge operations. We took ownership of the bridges, and we also with that experience, we noticed that a tool for the monitoring of the Gnosis bridges was very much needed. The problems that we faced during the ownership of the bridges and the input from the Gnosis team, I remember working alongside Dan, Gonzalo, and Alejandro Anzas, suggest us to build this Gnosis Bridge Explorer. We faced during this ownership several pain points that the users had to that the users encounter on the experience of the using the native bridges. So these problems were low visibility on bridge operations for the users. Retail users sometimes were blind whenever a bridge operation took more time than expected. Difficulties to determine validators' health. I don't know if you're all aware, but I'm going to say it anyways. The Gnosis Bridge operation system requires a trust model of 6 validators, and for a transaction to relay tokens from one chain to another requires 4 signatures out of that 6 validator set. So whenever a validator or a couple of validators goes down, and let's say we have another validator that is slow to sign transactions, to make signatures, to relay those tokens back and forth, transaction will get stuck. So that was a main issue. We experienced, well, not we, but I have studied a postmortem about a significant outage of the bridge occurred on the 20th of August. So that was a document that we studied to assess the problems and to better handle it. User reports of stuck transactions. Whenever some problems arose, Discord tickets piled up, potentially damaging Gnosis' reputation and creating discomfort in the community. And this bullet point is directly linked to below bullet point, which is a misallocation of valuable human resources. Whenever Discord tickets came up, the way to treat those issues was digging into different block scans, manually searching transactions by age, going deep into transaction logs, and even more things that required a highly knowledgeable operator who mostly be a developer or Dan or the communications team, but it was a highly qualified worker, highly qualified and mostly high ranked inside the Gnosis organization, and that didn't seem quite efficient to us. So that was a significant pain point. It was hard to gauge daily and execution limits, mostly on the vicinities of the merge on mainnet. There was some strange situations where liquidity was harvested on some of the bridges of Gnosis, and the daily limits were met. So that was a significant pain point also. And also we have some troubles with validator set modifications. It came to happen that whenever a validator was removed from the validator contract, the transactions that were unclaimed for user, let's remember the functioning of the bridge. Whenever a user tries to bridge from Gnosis Chain to Ethereum, the signatures are collected on Gnosis Chain side, and the user has to pay the gas for the claim transaction on Ethereum side, because it is a transaction that is often very expensive. So validators can't deal with that cost and has to transfer that cost to the user. So whenever a user speculates with the price of gas and doesn't execute that claim transaction, and we as owners of the bridge had to remove some validators, that transaction rendered unclaimed and unclaimable, so leading to the loss of the user funds and the consequent Gnosis reputation impact. So that was a significant pain point, and we had, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 situations where users hadn't claimed their transactions on Ethereum side. So the obscurity of the bridges of the transactions didn't allow us to see which transactions were still unclaimed and claimed by force. So this tool came to solve those situations. And the goals of this tool were to improve the visibility and traceability of bridge transactions by developing a user-friendly dashboard, which will enable users to easily find their transactions and provide them with a peace of mind that the transactions are secure. I don't know if perhaps we on this ecosystem, we tend to get a little bit technical, but if we want to onboard the next billion users, we need to start thinking more about the retail users, about the everyday people who perhaps doesn't know the inner functioning of this bridge or about anything in crypto. We need to make it as safe and easygoing as possible. Secondly, we have streamlined the assessment of the validator health, daily limits, and execution limits that will reduce the pressure of social media from users that demand updated information, and also help with troubleshooting when something goes downhill, which will enable our support team to diagnose issues. I remember, I don't know if it was Dosh, he was always handling those issues, and it took a significant amount of time handling Discord tickets. With this tool that we have developed, perhaps with only a link, we share that link on Discord to the user that submitted a ticket, and the user can easily diagnose or easily see if the transaction is taking a little bit longer, or the validator's signatures have been collected, or which is the actual status of the transaction. With the previous tool, which was the ALM tool, the live monitoring tool, that wasn't always the case, because it was kind of hard for the retail user to see where the transaction was, and if it some validators were modified or were removed or changed or switched up, that mostly wouldn't appear on the ALM, and also ALM worked only over the AMB bridge architecture and not on the XDAI, and sometimes transaction gets stuck on the XDAI bridge or the Binance Smart Chain bridge between Gnosis, and those transactions weren't catch up by the ALM. Also, the goal of the tool was to provide a finance section to gain insight into the financial status of the funds locked, which is hidden, this section at the moment. We develop it, but I believe Georgios, which is now the owner of the bridge on Gnosis, made the right call to not show it, because I don't know if the funds are deposited on compound of Aave, but that section needs a little bit of work. So, but it's there. It's only a toggle switch away from appearing on the monitoring tool. This tool also will improve user safety perceptions when used Gnosis native bridges. As I previously said, if we want to onboard the next billion users, or at least a billion users into the ecosystem, and mostly on Gnosis Chain, we need to show the user that their funds are safe and are being relayed from one chain to another in the most transparent way. And also reduce downside when removing validators. This seemed at first a bit, I don't know, superfluous, but it's a crucial point, because I remember some Discord tickets that Gnosis had to cover over its own pocket, because users, after removing a validator from the validator's contract, couldn't reclaim those funds on Ethereum side. So that is a significant pain point. So the outcome is this monitoring tool, this Gnosis Bridge Explorer, which has a section dedicated to the XDAI bridge and the Omni bridge, a transaction list. It has a validator section. It has a bridges info section to handle these limit issues, to visually see at a glance how much of the execution limits have been consumed. This funds monitoring section, which is inactive at the moment, but I believe in order to gain transparency, in order to gain the customer, the retail customer, or the newcomers, their trust, it would be nice to show what is Gnosis doing with the amount of funds locked, that I believe are roughly $40 million on each bridge. So it is a significant amount. Improved visibility. It is always redundancy and transparency, and reduce overhead for the support and comms teams. I remember having Dan and Dash also in pain with dealing Discord tickets. Some of the Discord tickets were a significant amount, perhaps $25,000 being breached and being stuck on the bridge, but some other Discord tickets were about $5. So you have highly ranked people at Gnosis and highly skilled developers handling $5 worth of a ticket. So this tool came to reduce that overhead in that misallocation of resources, if you want. And devs can be focused on building the next applications or the next features, and not troubleshooting the bridges errors or malfunctions. So let's do the app, shall we? Can you guys still see my screen after all this monologue?
Yeah, absolutely. Loving it. Thank you so
Yes.
much.
If you have any questions, you please be free to ask it. I have it all written down, and also we've been working for several months on this. I promise I won't forget anything. Well, this is a fairly simple application. This is the transaction list that I previously talked about. We have the main difference with the live monitoring, that previously Gnosis had to handle the situations is that this is a transaction list, as you can see on every block scan. Perhaps a user has made the transaction, the bridging transaction, a few minutes ago, and so he maybe don't have to insert an address or a transaction hash. This is my address. I haven't made that transaction on the last day, so it checks out. Perhaps it didn't need to insert a transaction hash or an address to use the application, and could simply spot at a glance which their address is and how their transaction is being handled. This transaction list improves greatly on the granularity of the transactions. If we click on these badges, which this says unclaimed, we can see all the information we need to assess this transaction and to see if there is something wrong. We can see the amount, we can see the tokens being relayed from one chain to another, who is the initiator, the receiver, and even more important, we can see step by step which was the path that transaction have to go through to be relayed to the last tokens. We had a significant amount of obscurity, but well, because breaches are not a simple thing. If they are hard to us that we work years on this, imagine how it would be to a person that does other things for a living. So this is a wonderful tool to see and to gain peace of mind. If a transaction is taking a bit longer, you can perhaps see if some validators are slow to sign. You can see how many confirmations have been made, how many confirmations are in total are able. So yeah, this is the granularity of the transaction that I talked about. Here we have a validator panel that shows the signature of the trust model, and this one is the last signature that executes the bridging. This operation, as we can see, is a transaction that relays this amount of tokens from mainnet to Gnosis. So the is completed. It was signed by Karpathy validator. If we click here, it takes us directly to the transaction that signed the collected signatures method, and tokens are sent to the user on the right chain. Let's go to the bridges section. This is a fairly interesting section. I'm sorry, I'm having a bit of a slow internet right now in South America. Here we can see at a glance how much of the daily limits have been consumed and how much of the execution daily limits have been consumed. This is valuable information in times where a great deal of funds are being relayed from one chain to another, and these limits have been met. These are safety limits. If this bridge gets hacked, let's pray for it for not, right? But if this bridge gets hacked, it only allows the validators to execute the amount of 10 million dice in a day. So that would be the worst case scenario in case of a hack. And we have also the right amount of slack of headspace to users to use and to relay tokens back and forth in whichever configuration they seem appropriate. And this is an information section. We have all the signatures that rules the bridge proxy contract, the governor multisig. The multisig is formed by 16 organizations that makes the call regarding the bridge limits, regarding the trust model, removing validators. It is a really safe bridge. And if you go to this contract, you can see all the methods and all the specifications, so the user can gain transparency and can see that what we all know, that Gnosis bridges are safe and are transparent, but perhaps on previous times we weren't able to visualize or to show in the right light. Then we have the validators page. On the 20th of August outage, I remember read a post-mortem where several of these validators went offline and some transactions were left stuck. It was quite a grim scenario. So we came up with this page that show us which validators are working, which aren't, and show us when was the last time a validator signed a transaction, when was the last time a validator was seen. And we can use this tool to live monitor the validators without entering a block scan. Here we can see it is so easy, this tool, that we can see that the gateway validator that we held spinned up a few months ago has been last seen a month ago. So if you copy this address and go to Gnosis scan, we can see that the gateway validator, are you guys seeing my Gnosis scan screen? We can see that the gateway validator is failing all the signatures. So guys, you have an issue at hand. Right now the bridge is functioning only on 5 validators of 6. So if another validator goes down, you might hit a bottleneck. So this is courtesy of BootNode. And this is a gateway validator. We can easily see that it's failing all transactions. I don't know if it is a slow validator, if it ran out of gas. I believe it not. It have a significant amount of gas, so the gas is not the problem. But anyways, you can see that this tool is really helpful, and we have already spotted an issue with a validator, which can potentially be a problem to users. So we already saved some support team time. I don't know if there is another feature you want me to showcase. It was on scope, but for sometimes constraints we couldn't develop the feature of adding a claim button next to every unclaimed transaction, for the case when removing a validator. We don't have that problem that I said previously, that some transactions from Gnosis to Ethereum to be rendered unclaimable, since a validator that had signed that transaction will be left out of the bridge's contract. So I don't know if Manu and Dan or Stefan can make the call and have us fix that or add that feature. It would be great to work on this Bridge Explorer again and alongside the Foxite Gnosis. So yes, I believe that is all. Let me go back to the presentation. Oh yes, I'm leaving my colleague Marcelo behind. We have some technical aspects that perhaps exceed my QA presentation abilities and are more suitable to a knowledgeable developer as Marcelo. So I would like to Marcel take the lead.
Okay, thank you. Inya have covered all the functionalities. I just want to mention from the technical aspect that behind the scenes, the Bridge Explorer is event-oriented development for storing the on-chain data. Which data we are storing is the bridge's traceability for each transaction, and also the validators activity, as Iña showed. After that, what distinguishes this Bridge Explorer is that we manage to granulate the transaction statuses on each point of both bridges, just for the support team to detect potential issued bridge elements, such as validators not taking care of the transactions or mediators on the Omni bridge not initiating or finishing the bridges. Also, what distinguishes this tool is the idea to fix these issues that Gnosis had in back in days for the unclaimed transactions. Now they can be identified and users may be notified to claim them in order to manage the validators without any other problem. So just to mention that, if there is any question, please make it now.
I have a quick question. Yeah. If there is an unclaimed transaction, can the user claim that transaction on the Bridge Explorer, or do they have to navigate, back to the bridge?
It's my understanding that the transaction can be claimed from the LAM tool. Right now, we, as Iña mentioned, the claim functionalities or the claim feature is not available on the Bridge Explorer, but it's a good feature to be added. So I guess they should or return to the bridge or just go to the LAM tool.
Yeah, I mean, I know I can speak for the rest of the comms team that this is a huge improvement and just makes a lot of our work much easier. So thank you so much. It's an incredible dashboard and a tool, and yeah, there's just like so much to dig into there. So I thank you so much. Yeah, if there are any questions from the crowd here, from everyone who's attending, this is the time to ask it. You can either type it in the chat here, or you can just unmute your mic and talk directly with the BootNode team. I can ask a question. It looks like we have a shared Google Doc here going. Someone typed, "Feel free to share features requests with John." So I'm actually not sure what that's referring to. Maybe there's
That was me.
okay.
Yeah, that was me. One of the features is the one that, well, we have limited time, limited resources, limited bandwidth. There are a lot of things that we can add to that dashboard, to that Explorer. And one of them is, as you said, the claim, just to claim exactly from there. Right now, it is Giorgio who leads the product, and I believe that he has many features and a backlog to be prioritized. So probably if you can provide a way to reach out to him, and yeah, with features and feedback from real users. One thing is we are power users. We use this for real, but we can't imagine every single use case. So feedback is very valuable.
So how can community members and users make a request or provide feedback? Can they do that directly on the Bridge Explorer by contacting either Gnosis or BootNode?
Yeah, I don't know if through the Explorer, but directly to Gnosis would be the way to go.
Yeah, just to add to that then, Discord is a great format for providing feedback. So if anyone on the call is using the Bridge Explorer and they notice something that is not there, or maybe there's a pain point in terms of the UX, yeah, please let us know in Discord here by opening a support ticket, and we will certainly pass that information on. Okay, if we don't have any more questions from the BootNode team, I think we'll let everyone go because we're approaching the hour here, and I know everyone is very busy, and so I don't want to take up any more of your time. Go
I
ahead.
might have one question, but it's well, thank you very much for the talk, BootNode. That was really interesting. But it's not specifically BootNode focused. It's something else to do with validator nodes and potentially like sending a proposal to the Gnosis team and the Gnosis community about running validator nodes on decentralized infrastructure geographically distributed in the countries that your program is looking for. And that's the idea. But I don't know if this is a good time to talk about it. But I was wondering where would be the best place to discuss that with the community and the team.
Yeah, I think if you want to open a support ticket, we can talk directly, and I can point you towards resources, and also if you're looking to author a proposal on the forum, I can give you resources there, and we can talk further.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll do that and follow up. Thank you very much, John.
You got it. Anyone else with a question for the BootNode team? If not, Manu, do you have any upcoming events or anything you'd like to share with us in terms of just general things on the horizon?
I just want to thank you all, and thank you for the invitation to share this. We are very proud of this tool. We consider that it's very valuable. It will save a lot of time and provide visibility and transparency. And we will be sharing any news probably soon about our contributions to a project that is called Agave. So stay tuned.
Awesome. I'm excited to hear that. And Agave is one of the foundational building blocks of DeFi on Gnosis Chain. So we're all excited to learn more about that development. And okay, thank you so much, BootNode, for making the time to join us. And you're always welcomed here on the Gnosis Chain Discord as some of the most long-standing and oldest contributors of Gnosis Chain and the Gnosis DAO. So much respect to you. Thank you so much. And we will see you next month for the next Living on Chain event, which happens on the first Wednesday of each month. So stay tuned. We will bring on another excellent guest. So thank you, everyone. Take care and have a great month.
Thank you. Likewise.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you. See ya.